What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is October 3rd of 2017. Well, folks, as you all know, I love getting feedback down in the comments down below and covering a coin or token that you all want to see on this channel. And recently I did a poll due to all the new ICOs coming out, where I asked you which ones you wanted to see covered on the channel. And as you all know, I like to deliver on my promises. We got a massive amount of requests for a specific ICO in the space known as CHAINLINK. CHAINLINK got over 1,000 votes on my poll. That's pretty exciting for a simple straw poll that I threw out. It obviously shows that some of you out there want to see CHAINLINK covered. So, that being said, I'll go ahead today and talk to you about CHAINLINK, because after I've looked into it for the past few hours, I've really gotten interested in the concept. Out of most ICOs nowadays, it seems like it's actually practical, and it seems like there's actually a functioning team, functioning technology, and a serious proof of concept that really could make this worth something. So, that being said, let's go ahead and look at the numbers first and foremost, and then we'll do a fundamental analysis talking all about CHAINLINK and seeing why it's valued already at $124 million. So, here on the numbers, we can already see that right now it's holding a very steady valuation, something I feel completely fine in investing in. I don't know if I'd want to buy it right away in the sense of where it is right now. However, if people continue to really start adopting this technology and news continues to look good, this really isn't that high of a valuation in the grand scheme of things with the application that this will have, as we learn later on. However, though, it's getting good volume. It's on Binance primarily. That's pretty much where all the volume's coming from, and then some from Ether Delta as well. But again, steady amount of volume. I really hope this comes to Bittrex, and I can very well see it come to Bittrex with how much it seems like this is actually a serious project for the long term, and that's usually what Bittrex looks for. And then we can see that the circulating supply is at 350 million link compared to its total supply at 1 billion. So, again, decent numbers, everything checks out good. The real question is, what is CHAINLINK trying to do long term? So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So if we go to the website for CHAINLINK, it's actually not like chainlink.com. They have a fantastic domain, smartcontract.com. The actual company behind it is actually, I think, Smart Contract, as we'll look later on. But again, I mean, that's awesome. They have the domain for smartcontract.com. They obviously must really like smart contracts, and they must have been in this space for a while, because smart contracts are a big buzzword in the crypto space. But I want to go ahead and explain what a smart contract is. There's going to be a lot of, big words we're going to be using in this that a lot of people, I guess, in the crypto space, unless you're really, a big advocate of it and you really dig deep, might not understand. So I want to make sure it's simple, easy for you to understand and really pick up. So right off the bat, you can see that it says connecting smart contracts to your apps and data, okay? So again, I really want to emphasize what a smart contract is. Now, there's a lot of different types of smart contracts and different implementations of smart contracts out there, but basically what a smart contract is it's just like a contract that you have between two parties. It's a set of agreements, but on the blockchain, a smart contract is a certain execution of agreements, okay? And this is all done through code. However, smart contracts can be agreements for payments. They can be agreements for remittance. They can be, set agreements to execute a certain action on the blockchain. Whatever you can think of, it could be a million different things. And as we see blockchain step into different industries, the implementations of smart contracts are going to become larger. And again, this has really been kind of popularized by Ethereum and a lot of other large players in the space. And smart contracts are becoming an even bigger part of blockchain as we continue to grow in the space. So, why is this powerful? What is, in this case, what is CHAINLINK trying to do differently? CHAINLINK is trying to link it with your apps and data, specifically corporate enterprise out in the world, and being able to transmit their data onto the blockchain and easily, through their APIs and transmitting that information, being able to transmit that through CHAINLINK and make easy smart contracts. So again, if that's still confusing to you, I can go ahead and explain a little bit deeper. I really want to make sure you get a full understanding of it, because as I've looked into this, folks, I've got to say, you all know I don't BS you on this. I don't try to overfluff things. This really does seem interesting to me. And I think that there's a lot of markets where this could tap into, because right now there's a big problem. Enterprise is not finding it easy to transmit information and make easy smart contract implementation for their companies, whether it be finance, whether it be insurance, whether it be all kinds of manufacturing, shipping, etc. I mean, whatever industry you look at, smart contract creation and being able to have a system where that connects to data and information through APIs is not very simple. However, Chainlink is fixing that. It's fixing this very large issue. So we can see here, you could use Chainlink for mixing blockchain technologies through any existing APIs, such as financial services, news networks as well, and all kinds of different industries. Again, this is very widespread. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. You really can let your imagination run with it. And the big thing that really I think this is going to tap into right off the bat is payment solutions. Okay, and we're going to talk, if you see this right here, Swift, we're going to talk a lot about this when we come later on through the video. This is a very big reason why Chainlink rightfully has the valuation it has right now, okay? But payment solutions is a big thing. Being able to execute contracts for large corporations through smart contracts, through their APIs. Because right now, there is centralized networks, Swift being one of those, that manages payment messaging in the sense of communication for transactions. And we'll learn a little bit more about that later on. And again, this is also awesome as well for connecting with other chains, cross-chain smart contracts. I mean, that's extremely powerful. So there's all kinds of different use cases. There's different propositions. And as you can see, they've got some industry recognition and users. Again, we're going to focus on Swift a lot. I really want to talk about that. Sorry, I'm getting kind of giddy about it. I really want to, really transmit as to how powerful this is. So right now, they're really trying to solve the connectivity problem. There is a key limiting factor for smart contract adoption, and it's the easy access of transmission of information over external systems and APIs. So again, this diagram shows you some of the potential behind it, and we'll dig a little bit deeper into what this means. So again, stepping into a multitude of industries. Backend systems for CRMs like Salesforce. You have events data, so security, weather, whatever it may be, shipping. And you have all web APIs, so this is any kind of software applications that you might use, any kind of social media, and websites in general, etc. So it could be really anything. So they have a centralized, this whole centralized system is what's called as an oracle, okay? Now, we're going to get a little bit deeper into that later on, but again, just keep in mind that this is finding a way to centralize, take something that might be a centralized process originally and be able to decentralize it and apply smart contracts, okay? So, again, let's keep scrolling down here, and let's go ahead and take a look at the team. So we can see here, the first one I really want to focus on, and we'll take a look. As you can see, the team is relatively small. There's only 2 individuals. Now, that might be a big red flag, and usually I'd say yes, that is a red flag. But they've been working on this project for quite some time, and they're relatively skilled individuals. Not to mention they have advisors, which we'll look at in just a minute. First one I want to focus on is Sergey. So I want to pull up his LinkedIn here real quick because he's got one. So again, smart contract, this is pretty much the Chainlink ICO, but he's been working on this for the past 3 years. This isn't some ICO that popped out last week, So I want to give him a sense of credit. Sergey has been working in this space for a while, not only on this, but he's worked on other projects as well. He's worked on Secure Asset Exchange for over a year and 9 months from May 2014 to January of 2016. And this was a way for smart contracts to have real-time revenue sharing with multi-signature escrows to ensure performance. So you can read about it here. He's got some cool media. I like when people link actual information in their LinkedIn positions or their old LinkedIn companies they worked at. It's a very great way to use LinkedIn. Again, he's also worked at CryptoMail. This was a place where it was pretty much decentralized email. So you can only access it. There was no third party trusting your data. I think it's amazing. I've never heard of it until I saw it, but I thought that was really cool when I read it. And then, of course, he's worked at QED Capital. This just sounds like a general capital fund, and focused in ventures in Russia and Europe. And then he also worked for a company called Exist Local, which brought people in local communities together and brought about local experiences, sharing things with the community. So I think it's pretty cool, this whole kind of peer-to-peer focus he's had for a while. And I think that's interesting as well. I think it ties into blockchain very much. So he's been in this mindset for quite some time. He's got lots of connections. He's in San Francisco. You have to network with him sometime. Go meet him. I'm just kidding. But I mean, honestly, he's seriously got some experience behind him. This isn't some laughing matter. So a decent, solid leader in the project, which makes me a lot more confident in this. And he's been working again on this for 3 years with someone else, which means this, again, isn't just like two guys like last week, like, hey, let's just, this idea, let's create something that can connect APIs, So again, I really want to emphasize we have a sense of trust in it, and we're going to learn a little bit more later on with the Swift partnership as to how there's scalability and how they're already going to get a sense of adoption. The thing I really want to emphasize here is the potential for this. So securities smart contracts for things like bonds, interest rates, derivatives, all kinds of things like that. That is a actually, I would say if you can factor bonds, interest rate derivatives, that is a multi-hundred billion, if not trillion-dollar market. Huge, or huge, just kidding. But a very big industry alone, and that's just one that Chainlink could be a part of. We also have insurance smart contracts. This has been something that people have been kind of talking about for a long time. And as much as I was kind of a doubter of it, it's becoming a little more of a reality to bring smart contracts to the front of insurance agreements between a party and a company or corporation. So again, if they can deliver on this, I think this would be interesting. And also trade finance. So again, there's all kinds of stuff. Supply chain, GPS data. I mean, there is countless possibilities with this. And it's bridging that serious gap of not having communication with APIs, okay? So this is really, really fundamentally a game changer for blockchain. If what they're delivering on, is sound and it's expandable to the sense of any kind of company or corporation or organization. So again, I recommend you read through the white paper if you're going to invest in it. As always with cryptocurrencies for long-term investing, I always recommend you read the white paper. It's good to learn about what they're objectively trying to do. And even though I know, as you can see probably here as I scroll, it's a little dense, but I skimmed through it relatively well, and I like what I read. I really do. They really seem to have a decent scalable amount of technology. And this isn't, again, something that's been popped up last night like a lot of ICOs. This is something that's really been in the works for a while, and it's exciting if you can really, get kind of geeked out by this. I kind of like the whole sense of communications and smart contracts and, the blockchain in general. The last thing I really want to end this off on is, it's always the question at the end of all my videos, can it get adopted? Can the technology function for the large scale of business and scale to a multitude of industries and not limit itself to some small thing like DentaCoin that's focused on storing information for dentists? Again, I'm not trying to rail on that. We're focusing here on Chainlink. But again, really something that is going to be serious and scalable and has been proven to show that, yes, we're actually trying to get adopted. Because there's a lot of ICO projects that claim they can do this, and maybe even if they can, they're not getting adopted. At the end of the day, adoption is what matters. In Swift's case, in Chainlink's case, they have a partnership with a company known as Swift. Swift is the largest, keep in mind, the largest global provider for secure financial message services. Now, what does this mean? This means that between banks, financial institutions for trading, bonds, investments, general business of things, technologies companies, manufacturing companies, whatever it may be, when large, transaction information is sent over, it's usually sent over platforms like Swift to confirm it. And it's done through a system that is known as an oracle. It's usually, in this case, a very centralized system that is kind of where everything transmits through. However, Swift has been working with Chainlink to build a crypto oracle that is able to transmit transactions through smart contracts. This is where Chainlink could make it big. The reason being, Swift has all the partnerships they need. They have all the financial institutions, they have all the insurance companies, they have all of the technology companies. I mean, everything that you can imagine. It opens that door for them. Now, the question is, it is kind of a make or break thing. Is Swift going to actually officially implement things? How are things going with Swift's technology implementation? Again, it is going to very much depend on that. Not saying that Chainlink, if things don't go well with Swift, is not going to take off. It just would be a warning sign Not only would it be cutting out a big opportunity, but it'd be like, why didn't it work? So again, this whole idea of breaking down this previous barrier on smart contracts, it is very massive, and everything seems to really check off very well, which is why I'm optimistic on it and why I wanted to cover it, even though the community generally requested it. I can see why there's optimism behind the project, and I think its valuation could go much, much higher than where it is now. The question is, though, is how fast it can be adopted, how fast that technology is going to be pushed, and whether or not Chainlink can remain on top. So, again, you got to stay on top of it. You got to read the white paper, do a little bit of digging into the partnerships and connections they have, and really try to understand on a technological side what benefits this brings to smart contracts in the blockchain. Anyways, everyone, that's it for the video. I appreciate you all watching. I want to thank you all for the feedback as well. We've got more ICO videos coming soon, and I'm going to hopefully be covering altcoins soon, so stay tuned for that if you're interested in that. I know that's a big ICO that everyone's been talking about, another Chinese ICO that's gained a lot of traction. But if you've got a coin or token you'd like to see me cover on the channel, please leave a comment down below. You all know I love to get feedback from you all. I haven't been saying that the past few videos, but you all know that I love getting feedback. I'm trying to cut it out. I say it too much, but you all know by now. I love it. And I do want to really produce content that you all want to see. So definitely feel free to leave me feedback down below. I love your outreach, guys. I love the community we're building. But until then, everyone, I will see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.